The 2022 March Madness bracket is in. I'm Autumn Johnson for NCAA Digital, and I have the chair of the selection committee, Nina King. And Nina, 5 long, tireless days. But the bracket is in. How are you all feeling about your overall body of work?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, we're so excited to actually be able to put the bracket out today. Like you mentioned, it's been 5 days. We had lots of different scenarios, versions, and to settle on a final this afternoon was just really exciting, exhilarating, and now here we go, March Madness.
Here we are. Yeah. We're finally here, but I know there were some challenges that came with it. What were some of those challenges?
Sure. I mean, this year we were Selection Sunday, not Monday, which we're typically used to, so just kind of having to be ready a little bit earlier than normal for the women's basketball selection committee. So that was interesting. It created some anxious moments, mainly this afternoon, while conference tournaments were still going on, and some conference tournaments that still had some pretty big implications in where we were placing teams. So it was a little intense. We would take breaks to finish the games that we're finishing, but ultimately really proud of the work that we did.
Well, you mentioned about the implications overall. The Big 12 was a huge one today. What were those last 4 hours like for you all to kind of decide amongst that 1 line, 2 line for this conference?
Yeah, well, we couldn't wait until the result, and so what that just created was different scenarios. We had several different brackets going, if this, then this, and if that, then that. So that was really interesting. And so as things started to kind of shake out, I mean, we certainly didn't finish a final one until all of the games were over. But you kind of got a picture as the day was playing on what it was beginning to shape up to be.
Another team that really stuck out to me was Iowa. They were 4 when you all released your final top 16 reveal. They jump up to the 2 line. What impacted that?
I mean, how they finished the season. They finished strong, co-champions of the regular season in the Big Ten, and then just a tear through the Big Ten Conference Championship. Absolutely upward trajectory. And so, you know, we talk a lot about seeding is how you're playing now, and Iowa is a perfect example of that. They just really had finished strong, and so felt that they were really deserving of the 2 seed.
Absolutely. And I already had a chance to fill out my bracket.
Good.
The balance is incredible. Yeah. Overall, there's tons of rematches that we'll see throughout the season. Kind of walk us through how you all went through that placement.
Sure. I mean, not avoidable with 68 teams and with so many teams from certain conferences. Also, you know, you can't avoid those rematches with only 4 regions in a bracket. But we've got specific bracketing principles, and so we have things that we have to avoid and things that we attempt to avoid. And just consistently, as we kind of run into some of the conflicts, try to address them the same way for each of the teams.
And also NC State in that Bridgeport region as the #1 seed on that line, but then also UConn sitting at the 2 line. What was the conversations around that placement?
A lot of conversation, making sure we got it right, because we knew that there would be a lot of chatter around that, and rightfully so. I mean, was that the right thing to do? And we certainly wholeheartedly believe that it is. You know, in terms of bracketing, we start with the S-curve, and we try to place teams on a true S-curve to ensure competitive equity across all 4 regions. And then we take into account other factors when needed. If you know, we need to move teams because of a bracketing principle that we need to stay true to. But then we also look at student-athlete experience, fan experience, modes of transportation for teams. So a lot of different things that we look at. And ultimately, it was the right place to put UConn in the Bridgeport Regional.
Now, I don't want to ignore the fact that, you know, this is a huge year for women's college basketball, especially considering it's now 64 to now 68 teams. So that's very exciting. The first 4 games, what went into that criteria of selecting those specific games?
Sure. So I think we all kind of walked into selections a little fuzzy on what was going into it, and now we certainly know. So 2 of the first 4 games are between the last 4 at-large teams into the tournament, so the lowest seeded at-large teams in the tournament. So those are DePaul and Dayton, and Florida State and Missouri State. And so you see those first 2 games will occur here earlier this week. Then we also had teams 65 through 68, and those extra 4 teams due to the expanded bracket. And so those teams play each other for the right to play as a 16 seed, a #1 team. So just kind of a little different all across the the bracket this year. Just really exciting.
I'm so excited, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be a historic year. I'm really interested to know what you're excited for in March.
That it's here, March Madness. Absolutely. I mean, we have so many great games coming up so soon. So I think it's, for the committee, for me personally, just kind of that moment of relief. It's done, and now we can go watch our work play out on the courts these next few weeks.
Absolutely. In the next few weeks, can you walk us through that? Because the work doesn't stop here. You still have to get through the Final Four, still work to be done within the selection committee.
Yep.
What do these next few weeks look for you all?
Yeah, so we'll actually hit the road this week. So all of our committee members will serve as site reps for first and second round sites, some for the first four, so they hit the road tomorrow to serve as site reps. We do have some committee members that will be traveling with their own teams that are in the tournament. So they kind of take their committee hat off, and they're their team administrator, and then we'll join the committee when they are able. So yeah, site reps for first and second rounds, and then we're all assigned to regional sites. So we'll be out on the road again, and then arriving to Minneapolis so soon.
The madness is already getting underway. Thank you so much, Nina, for all you do for women's college basketball, for the committee as well. We appreciate these daily updates, and we're finally here ready to crown a champion. The journey starts today, but thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'm Autumn Johnson for NCAA Digital, and for more coverage, make sure you tune along on NCAA.com and NCAA Women's Basketball Social.